All right, let me start. This is how I'm going to do this. I'm going to start with Kerissa, and then I'm going to finish up with Victor, okay? So let's let the other person talk without interruptions. I give everybody ample time. You're not going to be cut off. You're not timed. Kerissa, how do you know Victor, and for how long?
I don't know him personally. I know him through social media, and I want to say since about 2023, 2024.
What type of relationship did you have with him?
We're both streamers on YouTube. Initially, we had like a little back and forth, and then for a period of time, we like ended the problems between us, and we tried to get along for a period of time, and then it went left again.
Okay, so you never were in a positive relationship with one another?
No.
I see. You write in your petition, Victor has been stalking and harassing me for about 2 years since February of 24. Is that still true?
Yes.
Since then, he has followed me multiple times and openly bragged about it online. So when you say followed you, you're not talking about physically following you. You're talking about on.
No, I'm talking about physically followed me.
Okay.
In person.
In person. Thank you for clarifying that. He has threatened to shoot and kill my elderly father, driven past my 9-year-old's school and my home in New York. Explain and give me a time frame for that.
Okay. So I'll start in the beginning. February of 2024, he showed up to my home in Boca Raton. Haunting over the internet, things like that. Shortly after that, he came to New York. He followed me from my home. I was driving my daughter to school in the morning. He followed me from my home as I was driving my daughter to school. And then I made a quick turn. And this is based off of what he said out of his mouth. I made a quick turn, and that's how I lost him. Later on in that day, he drove by what he believed to be my child's school and screamed out her name. He then drove by my house again, where him and my dad came face to face, and he just drove by. The most recent situation on Valentine's Day, February 14th, I was at the South Beach Pavilion in the morning watching the sun come up, and he approached my vehicle with a camera in my face, him and a female. They surrounded my vehicle. I said that I was going to call the police because he had previously threatened me with a firearm. Said that there was going to be a shootout between him and my father. They were both going to be in body bags, and I was going to be leaving in handcuffs. He said that police reports are not going to stop him, that he's going to continue to stalk and harass and follow me, that nobody's going to stop him. I let the Boca Raton police know because I have dual residency. I live in New York, and I also have a home in Boca. So like I said, on the 14th, he followed me from my home at 701 Arbor Terrace to the South Beach Pavilion, and then approached my vehicle. I dialed 911, and then he followed me to the precinct, the police department.
Okay.
And then
this is the year 2024 that all this is happening?
This is 2026. This incident that I'm talking about was just February of 2026.
Okay, go ahead.
Where he followed me from the South Beach Pavilion.
Gotcha.
And then on the 16th of February, him and his female friend stood outside the entrance of my home for 8 hours with signs yelling my name, my child's name, my father's name. And then they streamed it the entire time. They filmed a friend of mine's vehicle. They ended their stream, and then they trespassed on my property, filmed a friend of mine's vehicle, his VIN number. I filed a police report, and the day that they were there for 8 hours was the day that I picked up the paperwork for the RO, but I didn't have the pictures that I needed, so I filed it the next day, and that's everything.
If I were to ask him what his motive is for doing this, because I have a feeling he's going to tell me, yeah, that was me. He's not going to dispute those actions. Why would he do this to you? What is the reason for this bad blood, in your opinion?
he uses a lot of this for streaming and for content on social media, which I understand, and that's fine. But I'm a female. I don't feel safe having a man follow me, regardless of what it's being used for. I don't feel safe with a man. You know, he went through my child's class photos on his stream. I don't feel safe. You know, he mentions he's posted photos of himself with a firearm on the internet. I'm a felon. He's brought attention to the fact that I'm a felon and I can't protect myself, and that he can. I have videos upon videos of him threatening me, threatening my family. He will say that it's for content, for social media, but
Kerissa,
I don't feel that way.
Answer my question. I understand that this is scary for you, but my question to you, you didn't answer it. What is he?
Yeah. He will say it's for social media, for content, for YouTube, for social media.
In other words, I'm going to make somebody I don't really know that well miserable for me to have social media.
Oh, well, I will also say, like, I've said negative things about him. Of course, I've said, you know, I've gone back and forth with him. In the beginning of all this, it was a back and forth.
What do you say about him? Tell me what you say about him.
I've called him a child predator, which I believe that he is. I call him a groomer, which I believe that he is.
Stop it. Why is this man a child predator in your opinion? What do you base that on?
I believe that he is a child predator because of the things that he's done to my child. He's made up pedophilic fantasies involving my child's underwear. I believe that he is a groomer because he is. When he was 29 years old, he met a girl that was 16 years old. He waited until she was 18, moved her in, and dated her for 2 years. That is a groomer.
Have you reported him to the authorities?
FBI? Yes, I've reported him to the FBI. And I spoke to the FBI in Tampa one time.
Why would you have reported him to the FBI? If you felt as though that in any way he was showing any signs of pedophilia towards one of your children, why didn't you call the police?
I have.
Has it been?
I have filed police reports.
Has it been investigated?
Not. Like I said, when he made the pedophilic statements about my daughter, that I reported to the local police department and to the FBI. I filed an IC3. I spoke to the Tampa FBI office, and it was never investigated further than that.
Your allegations are as terrible and awful as his are towards you, assuming that both of them are not true. Putting those labels on one another, if they are not true, is wrong on many levels, not just legally. All right, I'm going to get back to you, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you for not interrupting her.
Of course.
Have you ever had a history of pedophilia or any criminal activity involving children, sir?
No. And when me and her were cool, she was never complaining about what she just said. She just said that, you know, at 31, I moved in a 16-year-old. That's false.
Okay. Were there any comments, sexual comments made regarding her child?
So what happens is that I'm a reactor on YouTube. I react to content, body cam footage, some of her body cam footage.
You're like Mr. Tosh.
In a way, yeah.
He's a reactor.
Yeah. So everything that I've spoken about has been something that she has said on her live stream. We hear it, and then we react to it. I'm actually not the only person. Like, there's a ton of people that cover her.
What did she say, which would be a poor choice on her part, but did she make reference to her child?
So what she's talking about was footage that she released where her daughter, and it's a live stream where she's talking to her daughter.
How old is the little girl?
The little girl might have been maybe 6 or 7, because she could talk.
All right, go ahead.
So the little girl is doing something in the background. You can't see it. And she asks the little girl, "What are you doing?" And what happened was the little girl was taking balloons and putting it in her bathing suit. So when she asked the little girl, "Why are you doing that?" she said, "Well, Papa taught me." She put that information onto the internet. All we did was critique her for it. And then she
did you put that out there? That conversation with your daughter with the balloons?
What he's talking about?
No, ma'am. You have to answer my question.
That the situation I'm talking about. I'm talking about specifically him talking about my child's underwear.
Let me ask you,
I've been a streamer since 2018.
what,
For a long time.
what's the reason why you would use
A 6-year-old, let alone your own 6-year-old, in that context, putting it out on social media? That's just down outright dangerous, borderline
Yes,
child abuse.
it is
Why would you do that?
because I was in active drug addiction at the time. My whole relapse was live on YouTube.
Okay.
He's right. There's a lot of bad footage of me on the internet, and I've been for the past 4 years trying to clean it up. My daughter's now 9. The video he's talking about, she's about 3 or 4 years old. There's a lot of bad stuff about me on the internet.
Okay.
I don't think that gives somebody a right to stalk and harass me.
We're going to talk about that next. I appreciate your honesty, as well as you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Huh. So she's had the petitioner's had her issues that she's been dealing with, and she's made some mistakes, and she admits that. How can I keep, because the two of you aren't friends, you're obviously not friendly, having a restraining order against you in Palm Beach County, or in any county in any state, comes with some issues. It's public record. Anybody can look it up. If you borrow money, rent property, etc., people will tend not to want to do business with an individual who has a restraining order against them for the obvious reasons. We all would be concerned in hiring somebody or giving somebody money who has that issue. If you travel internationally, you're stopped by law enforcement to see whether or not you're traveling with the person you're not allowed to be with. It's not allowed to own firearms. You would lose your firearm, your Second Amendment. So it comes, I don't take them lightly. I don't assume that either of you do as well. She has a right, though, to be left alone despite what she has done. And I don't know if you're going to be able to do that or not. I ask you, sir, and you've been very good in answering my questions, are you able to discipline yourself without telling me whether you did or not? I'm going to make it easy for you. Don't physically tape her, don't physically follow her, just have her be hands off. And ma'am, the same goes to you. If you tantalize him, if you refer to him, because I just assume you're still streaming, a lot of this is a codependency for people. I'm not saying you guys are, but for a lot of people, you have to do it. It's part of their purpose in life. I'm not judging that. You got to leave him alone as well.
He can talk about me, recap me, get the body cam footage, all that. I just don't want him following me, showing up to where I live,
Fair enough.
things like that.
Take a moment and absorb that. I agree with her on that point. Have you ever had a restraining order against you, sir?
No.
You don't want one. I haven't made a decision whether or not she's met the statutory because I haven't asked certain questions, but I have a feeling that you're a wise guy. I mean that in a positive way.
Thank you.
An intelligent man. That's what I meant to say, not a wise guy. Wise person. And you know the gravity of this and what it can be. Are you able to not go to where she may be present, whether it's in Florida or New York, and try to get live feed on her or material on her?
If that's what you're asking me, yes, I can.
Yeah, I think it'd be easier for her and for you. I can't really get into, I don't have the legal authority to tell Victor what he can do on his social media. That's his First Amendment rights, and I know he knows that, and he'd be the first one to tell me, who do you think you are, Judge? You don't have the authority. He'd be right. He does not have...
And I agree with that.
He does not...
I agree with that.
Okay, good. That means you're not a hypocrite. Good. He does not have the right, though, to single you out and use it as a form of communication to you. That could turn into cyberstalking very easily. I'm not going to give him an injunction. He doesn't want that. I don't like putting him on people. It's really necessary. He's not going to come around you anymore. He's not going to travel to New York anymore. He's not going to do it with a friend or anyone and try to videotape you for material on his site. Am I overstating you, sir?
No, sir.
Anything from Kerissa?
That's all I asked. That's all I want. I don't look to infringe anybody's First Amendment right. He wants to talk about me. He can talk about me. I just don't want to be followed and stalked. That's it.
You have a right. You have a right to that, as he has a right to First Amendment rights. You have a right to have your ability to be freed and move about as you please without having to look over your shoulder that somebody is harassing you or stalking you. Absolutely, we all have that right.
Thank you.
In this country. All right, sir, I'm going to give you some paperwork that you're going to want for your records before you leave. Kerissa, if there's any issues in the future that you believe as though this gentleman is not keeping his promise, what he told the court, you have the right to come back through here, and just like you filed the first time, to refile the case, and it would be reopened and looked into again, okay? I don't think you're going to have a problem.
Thank you.
I
hope not.
I read people pretty well. I've been doing this for 40 years, and this gentleman here seems to me to be very sincere. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.